Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this is the all-new Samsung Galaxy Z Flip5. It has some big updates this year and comes in at $999 up to $1,119.99, and comes in 256 gigabytes to start and 512 variants. Now this comes in gray, blue, green, yellow, graphite, lavender, cream, and mint. I was able to trade in my Z Flip4 and got this for $200. I'll leave a link where you can check that out and get an extra $50, but I bought this with my own money. But let's go ahead and unbox it. So we'll peel off the back here. And then let's open the box. Now we're not going to cover everything, we'll just talk about what's new. So there's the phone, and in the box, just like last year, we have some paperwork here most likely, and probably a cable. So we have a SIM card removal tool. We also have USB-C to USB-C cable, and no charger included. We'll set the top of the box aside, and here's the phone itself. Let's go ahead and take it out of the wrapper here. And here's the phone. We'll take off the back sticker, and let's take a closer look at this in just a second. I'll set this aside, get the box all squared away, and let's take a closer look at it. We'll compare it with the other phones as well, but this is a little bit different this year. The first thing is it's slightly lighter, very slightly, 6.6 ounces compared to 6.5 ounces of the Z Flip4. And then also it has a new hinge. Now first, if we go around the outside edge though, on the right-hand side, of course, we've got our volume button. We've got our power sleep wake button that's also a fingerprint reader. We've got some antenna lines. Around the bottom, we've got our speaker, our USB-C port, a couple more microphones, and then on the left-hand side, we have our millimeter wave antenna and our SIM card slot. Let's go ahead and pop that out and take a closer look. And it's just a simple SIM card slot. So if you want to use that along with an eSIM, you can do that, but no expandable storage. Now on the back, of course, it looks a little different as we have an upgraded display on the outside. So the outer display is now a 3.4-inch Super AMOLED display at 720 by 748. That's up from 1.9 inches before. It's still a 60 Hz display though. The inner display is also updated this year as well, and let's go ahead and turn it on. And the inner display is now much brighter, 1504 nits of brightness, up from 772. That should be significant in outdoor brightness. So that's much better this year, and then the cameras are basically the same. However, the selfie camera has updated a little bit in that it has an f2.2 aperture instead of an f2.4 aperture as before. The rear cameras are the same as last year, although we have an upgraded image signal processor. I'll list the specs here on the side so you can see what they are, but everything else is physically the same. Now, like I said, the hinge is updated this year. So if we close this for the first time, it folds flatter. In fact, they actually call this a new Flex Hinge. It's been simplified and looks a little bit nicer. So we do still have a shiny hinge instead of the matte hinge that we have on the new Z Fold. So I wish they would have went that route. But in general, it looks pretty nice. Compared to the previous generation, let me remove the case here. And if you're wondering if the case will fit, it definitely does not seem like it will. So you would need an all-new case for that. Maybe the bottom part would fit, but let's go ahead and put that on. So maybe if you had a leftover one from a Z Flip 3 or 4, it would sort of fit. But even the microphone holes don't line up properly. So definitely pick up a different case if you need to. But compared with the Z Flip 4, side by side, you'll see the different camera arrangement, of course, and we'll turn on that display in just a moment. And then if we look at the side, and they're magnetic, they kind of jump together there, but on the side you can see that it folds much flatter this year. We don't have the little gap of the Z Fold 4, it's just a nice flat fold this time around, so that should prevent some dust getting in there. And then of course we've got the bottom that looks pretty much the same, and again from this side. So very similar as far as thickness. Like I said, very, very similar this year, but the displays are different. Now, if we go inside here, I'll get this set up quickly, and then we'll continue and take a look at what new features we have as well. Internally, we do have a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 this year with 8 gigs of RAM, so that should really help with performance and smoothness. So we'll go ahead and hit start, and I'll get this set up. We can now set it up with another device after we accept agreements. We'll just skip it for now. I'll set up Wi-Fi. Once it's connected, it says preparing for mobile connection, and then it says select your service provider. I haven't put a SIM card in here as I have my main SIM for these devices in my Pixel Fold. I showed that in the Z Fold video, but I have that in my Pixel Fold. Maybe I'll move it over here. I really like the flip form factor as it's really convenient. We'll go ahead and set it up later in settings. Now we can copy apps and data. We won't copy for now. We'll just get to the main screen so we can check out some of the features. But again, we'll give it a moment to check the info and get it set up. Next, we can sign into our Google account. I'll skip that for now. I can do that later. And then we can either agree or disagree to whatever they're asking as far as Google is concerned with allow scanning, use location, and more. We'll hit accept. Then we can set up our fingerprint sensor or use face recognition. We'll use fingerprints, we'll hit continue, and then we have to set up a PIN first or a password. Once you have your PIN set up, we can go ahead and set up the fingerprint sensor. And this is just like the one on the Z Fold5 or the previous generations. It works pretty well. It's very fast, and we're getting it set up here. So we're at 62%, continuing to set up with a nice little animation as we tap the button on the side. And we've almost got it set up. Change the position of my finger. There we go. We can add another or hit next. Then it says getting your phone ready. Next, we can sign in with our Samsung account. Again, I'll skip this just for now. And then again, we can agree to Samsung services or disagree. Then we can choose our display preference, light or dark mode. I prefer dark mode on these displays, but just for the sake of the video, to stop with some of the reflections, we'll go to light mode. And then of course we have the same instructions for taking care of your phone. We'll hit next, and it says we're all set up. So it should bring us to the home screen here. And before we talk about the software, this has the same battery as before, 3700 milliamp hour, same charging speeds. And like I said, the rear cameras have been upgraded with a new image signal processor, but everything else is the same. They're just in a different orientation for the outside display. Now let's go ahead and see if we have any updates. So we'll go into our settings here, go down to software update, download and install, and let's see what we've got here. So we have OneUI 5.1.1 with the security patch from July 1st. So there could be an August one. There was one just released for Pixel phones. We could expect that pretty soon with the Flip. We have 4 years of software support as well for major features and probably longer for security, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, if we go back, of course, we could see OneUI 6 come out soon. It's rolling out probably in beta very soon as well. But if we go back, we have some settings in here. In our display settings, of course, we have that adaptive brightness, which I've turned off just so it doesn't go overly bright in this video, but we have extra brightness, and that's where I mentioned before. We have a display that goes up to 1,504 nits of brightness, just about double what we had before, so this should be much better outside. If we go back one, scroll down, we've got our cover screen settings. So within our cover screen, we have all new widgets. If we go into widgets, you can see we can turn them on or off. So we have weather, recent calls, direct dial, and some of these are on by default. We also, if we go back here, have show notifications, quick responses, and allowed apps on cover screen. We have a new lab option here where we can turn this on for multi-window for all apps. We have flex panel mode, so we can adjust this on or off. And we also have some options for allow apps on cover screen. So we'll allow YouTube here, and we can allow any of these apps such as maps and messages and more. So it's nice to have that option if we want to watch it there. And then we have use main screen navigation on cover screen. So you can turn those on if you want to in the lab. So it's not technically public, but you can turn these on as sort of a beta. Now, if we go back home, let's go ahead and see what apps we have pre-installed. So we have our Google apps, of course. We've got Microsoft. We've got Samsung. And we have Facebook. Let's uninstall that. We also have our typical apps that we get with Samsung. So nothing really any different than what we would expect. Now let's go ahead and close this display and see what we've got on the outside for our widgets. So if we unlock our display on the outside, you can see it just shows the time. If I press and hold, we should be able to get into this. And if we swipe up, we can go through different wallpapers that we have here. So different designs and styles. So maybe we'll pick this one that has a lot of information. So we have our battery status, our time, and easy access to the camera. If we press and hold, we can swipe up, go to different ones, swipe to the right, and we can see our different widgets. So we've got weather, alarms, steps for the day, and different apps. So if we want to go into apps, we'll go into YouTube, and we should be able to use this. So we can type in this tiny little window. So if we look for Zollotech here, hit search, we should see the latest videos. So if we scroll down, we've got different ones, maybe the Z Flip5 unboxing I just uploaded. So it's playing on the cover screen if you want that. If we open it up, it goes right to the video here. So we're on the main screen with my video. Let's hit play, turn it up a little bit and hear the speakers. We've got either way. So we've got our cable. This is a USB-C to USB-C. It sounds pretty good overall, but it's a little distorted at the highest volumes. Let's go ahead and turn it down a little bit and hit play again and see if we've got it back on the cover screen. So if we've got the cover screen here, it doesn't continue playing, but if we unlock it, let's unlock it with the button, swipe over, we should have YouTube over here. So if we go back into YouTube, we can continue playing on the lock screen. So that's nice to have for a cover screen. If we press and hold, we can just slide to the left here. We have to kind of go home, slide to the left. And if we pinch in, we can see all of the different panels here or widgets. So we can add those and change those, add weather information, and it should pick that up here in just a moment. So that's really nice to have that option. There we go. It finally changed, and you can go through the different ones here. So it's really nice to have this larger cover screen. I think as they update this, it will be really nice as well. And definitely it's better for if you're using the camera. So to get into the camera, we just swipe from the side into the camera, and then we have different options for video and more. So it's really nice that you have this big cover display if you want to use this for recording YouTube videos or whatever you want to use it for, just to see yourself in the better cameras instead of the selfie camera. So I think I really like this overall. I like the larger display. Of course, we have the same display, but brighter inside, and it's just some nice, simple updates. So that's really great, especially with the trade-in values and more. I'll link those in the description if you want to check them out. And let me know what you think of the Z Flip5 in the comments below. I'll link this wallpaper in the description as well if you'd like to get your hands on all the Z Flip wallpapers. Let me know what you think about folding phones in general, though, in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, though, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.